What's up, YouTube? Blaze Templar here with another Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire Wi-Fi battle. After all this time, I am so sorry that it's been so long, but here we are. And looking at his team, he's got a pretty standard OU team with Landorus, Therian form. It's bulky, it's got good attack, U-turn, and stealth rock, and all that. So pretty good. Scissor, which might be a bandit, might be a scarf. Doubt that one, but it could be. And it could very well be a Mega or a Assault Vest, so it really has a lot of options for its item. And then, of course, we got Latios, which could be Specs or Choice Scarfed, and that's kind of an interesting note about this battle. Choice Scarf is going to be kind of a key item in the next couple matches, so kind of keep an eye out for that. And then, of course, Tornadus, which has Prankster, a fact that I may or may not have remembered. So let's just kind of look at my team. I've got kind of a mix of things. I've got a fast hitter in Noivern and a hard hitter in Haxorus. That's kind of what I had going there. Anyway, let's just get right into the match. And this was against a battler on Smogon named Danielrod, if I remember correctly. Yes. Anyway, I lead with Noivern, and this is a problem because I kind of forget about Thunderous, and so I'm just going, oh great, I can just U-turn out, go into Mamoswine, let it hit me with a Thunderbolt or whatever it wants to do, and I'll be fine because it's Mamoswine. So, yeah, that's a great idea, right? Prankster. Oops. So, that is a really big deal right there. I can't believe I forgot about Prankster being a thing. Unfortunately, that does mean that Noivern is basically useless now. However, what it does mean, I can go into my Mamoswine, just go for a Stone Edge, instead of an Ice move, just on the off chance he predicts it and goes into something that can take Ice moves relatively like Manaphy, but would not enjoy taking a Stone Edge. Again, Manaphy. And this is also because it's still super effective, and it hits most of his team for at least neutral damage. So it's really a safer play, even though the accuracy is slightly less. And so, thankfully, he taunts, predicting me to try to set up my rocks, which I don't know if that was really good play, because doesn't Oblivious kind of ignore that? Pretty sure it does. But thankfully, I do go ahead and get the Thunderous taken care of, and he goes into Manaphy, and I go into my physically defensive Empoleon, which is a thing. This thing was so amazing in Gen 5, and I've brought it over, but unfortunately the team it really was shining on kind of got obliterated by the new rankings with OU and UU mixes. Like, Victini got moved to Borderline, and Victini was a key member of the team, so that kind of bites. But I can get the Toxic off on Manaphy, kind of get it whittled down a little bit, and so if I do that, I should be able to go into my Haxorus and kind of clean up a little bit later. That's the plan. So I'm going to go into Noivern, not really wanting to take another Energy Ball right now with my Empoleon, because one, I'd like to get some damage off on the Manaphy through Toxic, and two, it's a 4 times resistance, just showing you that resistances are things you should not underestimate. But now, I need to switch. I need to keep Noivern around just because of Scissor. That's literally the only reason I'm keeping him at this point, because I might be able to use him there. Anyway, he goes ahead and Scalds here, and that's easily taking me out despite the resistance. Unfortunately, so Empoleon goes down, and this Manaphy with its leftovers is starting to be a pain. It's starting to be a real threat to my team, and with that base 100 speed, it is not exactly slow. But at this point, I'm like, it's almost quarter down, so I should be able to go into Choice Banded Haxorus and easily take it out with the Dragon Claw. Am I right? So go for it, and nope, no. Haxorus, it wasn't strong enough. So at this point, I'm going, please don't give me a burn. I don't want to burn. Well, this match is definitely soured for me, but it is still winnable. I still have Choice Scarf Heracross, which, given an opportunity, could potentially sweep, and yeah, I kind of have a chance here, I think. It's not going to be easy by any stretch of the imagination. Losing my physical wall and Empoleon didn't help any. But at this point, I can just kind of stay in with Haxorus as death fodder, see what he wants to do, and he bullet punches. And I'm not really sure yet, because he could be faking the Choice Band, which is a smart play. He may actually be Choice Banded, so I'm just going to go into my Noivern, and at this point, he does Mega. Now, the way I'm looking at it is I can take a bullet punch, so I'm okay if he's banded. If he's Mega, he's going to be greedy, he's going to Mega, and then he's going to Swords Dance. Either way, I can fire off the flamethrower and one-shot the scissor, getting it out of my life, getting it out of the way. And so that's the plan. And this shows you just how slow a paralyzed Pokemon becomes, because Scissor has like base 60 speed and Noivern 123. Yeah, so Scissor outspeeds my Noivern, and that's sad. But on the plus side, I was right about him getting greedy, able to flamethrower, one-shot the Scissor, and at this point, I don't really need Noivern anymore. It's done its job, and so I'm proud of what it did. Even paralyzed, it managed to get something killed, which is great. So in comes Orlando, and it goes for the Rock Tomb. Well, he was going to kill me no matter what, but Rock Tomb, I definitely wasn't anticipating. But considering what his team is, it kind of makes sense. So I'm going to go into Mamoswine, predict the switch, and he does switch, just via U-turn though. It probably would have been smarter just for me to Icicle Crash, but was wanting to get the Cobalion on the switch. Unfortunately, it comes in now, and this puts me in a tight situation as Cobalion is quite a bit quicker, and so I'm forced to switch, and I go into Claydol because at this point I see an opportunity to get the Stealth Rock up, and it's resisted with this close combat, so I doubt Cobalion was going to want to stay in, because that was a critical hit, and that did like, what, 40 damage maybe? They're about after leftovers, less than that, so yeah, he's going to switch, and this gives me a perfect opportunity to get my Stealth Rock up, and maybe if things go well, I'll be able to fire off a couple Ice Beams, maybe take out Orlando, or ideally even the Latios, which would be great. So I get my Stealth Rock up, and right now it's kind of iffy. If he U-turns, I know I can take it, and really nothing on my team really wants to. I mean, Heracross could, but I want to keep it healthy. So Claydol, kind of a sacrifice at this point, maybe getting an Ice Beam off on a key Pokemon like Latios or Landorus if I get a chance. Thankfully, that does happen, and I get the Ice Beam, that delicious Ice Beam, to hit the Latios. Unfortunately, I have like no special attack investment, so it does like literally this side of nothing. So at this point, he's just safely able to go for whatever move he wants to, and he decides to go for the Draco Meteor, which kind of makes sense in a way, but it also confused me a little bit because if he's Choice Scarfed, it does mean it's forcing him to switch. But if he's Choice Specs, he could potentially stay in another turn. But either way, I got the feeling I can go into Mamoswine and pretty much clean up, except for the Cobalion. So he goes into Orlando, gets the Intimidate off, but at the same time, not a terrible issue. I mean, sure, losing the attack is unfortunate, but he's going to be forced to switch with that Ice Shard. There's no way he's going to stay in and take another Ice Shard. There's just no way. He can't afford to lose his Landorus, not while Mamoswine and Heracross are still around. So, yeah, he can't do... Oh. He predicts me to go for that, and so easily goes, almost takes out Mamoswine. I survive on 2, and at this point, I have no choice. I have to go for Ice Shard. I have to kill this thing if I want Heracross to sweep. And so that's exactly what happens. Mamoswine goes down, but so does the Landorus. And now that means I'm down to my last. He's down to his last 2. Heracross is going to have to try to clean things up with the close combat. I would love to go for Mega Horn, but that would be a really bad idea because it's not quite as accurate, and Cobalion's still around and at like almost full HP. After Rock's not quite, but close. So I go for the close combat, going, it should take out Cobalion, no problem. All these Pokemon are living with like 1 or 2 HP. But to my surprise, he actually goes for a close combat of his own. Unfortunately for him, that's resisted. He probably would have been better off running Iron Head, but maybe he's not. Maybe he's running like Taunt, Volt Switch, close combat, and Stealth Rock? I don't know. His Landorus never showed Stealth Rock, so maybe. Anyway, I go for a second close combat, and that'll easily take out Cobalion. And I'm now at +1. Close combat will also one-shot the Latios after Rock's damage at this point. And so, as long as he is not Scarfed, I have the game. It literally comes down to what his item is. If it's my choice of item being the Choice Scarf, and him not, this is mine. But if he's got it, he's got it. So, let's find out. Choice Scarf Latios, very powerful Pokemon, and he's able to take out my -2's physical defense Heracross and win the game.